an ambitious project that promises to connect trade routes between Asia, Europe, and Africa through a network of land and sea routes. Called the New Silk Road, it is a billion-dollar project with the main objective of improving international trade by facilitating transactions between various countries of the world with the main Asian trader, China. The idea is to make all countries in the world have a free and direct route to Chinese industries, where the result would be a highly competitive price, along with ease in negotiations. But behind all the benefits that the project will inevitably offer, there is still a hidden intention. It is believed that all of China's efforts to create this new trade route are solely for one purpose: to become the world's largest economic power, deposing the current number one, the United States. In today's video, you will learn more about the New Silk Road, China's strategy of economic domination. But first, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates here on Visionary Businesses. I also want to know your opinion on the subject. Do you think China will inevitably surpass the United States, or do you think Americans will continue to be the world's biggest economic power even with all Chinese efforts? Leave your opinion in the comments. The New Silk Road. The New Silk Road is a gigantic infrastructure investment project devised by China with the main objective of connecting Asia, Europe, and Africa through a network of land and sea routes. The central idea is to create an international trade network that promotes economic development and strengthens Chinese influence in the region. The project consists of two main routes: the Economic Land Silk Road and the 21st Century Maritime Silk Road. The Economic Land Silk Road passes through countries in Central and Western Asia, while the 21st Century Maritime Silk Road connects China with Southeast Asia, Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. The project was launched in 2013 by Chinese President Xi Jinping, inspired by the historical trade routes that connected China with the Middle East and Europe during the Middle Ages. These routes, known as the Silk Road, were essential for international trade at the time and played an important role in the spread of cultures and ideas. With the New Silk Road, China seeks to increase its global influence in trade and international investments. The initiative is part of an even larger strategy by the Chinese government, known as the Belt and Road Initiative, which seeks to strengthen China's position in various regions of the world, establishing new economic connections with the world. Project objectives. The main objectives of the project are to strengthen China's influence in the region of the New Silk Road and promote economic integration with other countries. China seeks to become a global leader in trade and international investments and, by investing billions of dollars in infrastructure projects, seeks to establish closer connections with other countries, thereby increasing its political and economic influence. China is investing in infrastructure projects such as ports, railways, roads, and industrial parks that can facilitate international trade and investment. All of this investment in infrastructure creates jobs and stimulates the economy of the region. Additionally, with future negotiations, local labor will be required, which will develop the countries along the New Silk Road. This makes countries more inclined to negotiate exclusively with China in the future, increasing the demand for their products and bringing even more control of the international market to China. Another objective of the project is to help develop new sources of energy and natural resources in the countries along the route, such as renewable energy, oil and gas, mining, and agriculture, which can be beneficial for both China and all the countries involved. The main objective of the New Silk Road is to expand China's business in countries where its presence is not yet predominant. However, as a side effect, it will bring economic and technological development to all the countries it passes through. The two routes. The project has two main aspects: a maritime one, known as the 21st Century Maritime Silk Road, and a land-based one, known as the Silk Road Economic Belt, which will be responsible for expanding China's foreign trade. The economic belt of the Silk Road is made up of a network of railways, roads, and oil pipelines that connect China to Europe via Central Asia. It also includes the construction of new transportation corridors to facilitate trade between China and the region's countries. Some of the most emblematic projects of the economic belt of the Silk Road include the construction of the railway that connects China to Kazakhstan and the China-Pakistan Highway, which connects the city of Kashgar in China to the port of Gwadar in Pakistan. Meanwhile, the 21st Century Maritime Silk Road consists of a series of ports that connect China to countries in Southeast Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. Some of the most important projects include the construction of the port of Gwadar in Pakistan and the expansion of the port of Piraeus in Greece, which is now operated by China Ocean Shipping Company. The construction of ports, roads, and railways is part of a larger strategy to improve connectivity and economic integration among the region's countries. The idea is that infrastructure development will improve trade and the flow of goods and services, as well as reduce transportation time and costs, bringing a highly positive impact to the economy of all involved countries, especially those currently facing difficulties accessing international markets. Critics of the project argue that the construction of ports, roads, and railways will have negative impacts on the region, such as increasing pressure on the environment and disrupting local communities. They call for responsible and sustainable planning and execution of the project, with the participation of local communities and the protection of the environment. Investments in the project. All of this infrastructure that will essentially connect more than half of the planet Earth through a commercial route obviously comes at a high cost. According to data from the World Bank, China has already invested over $210 billion in projects related to the Silk Road Initiative since its launch in 2013, but the total cost is estimated to reach up to $5 trillion by the completion of the project. The main investments have been in infrastructure, such as railways, ports, roads, airports, and industrial parks. Some of the most emblematic projects include the construction of a railway line that connects the city of Yiwu in China to Madrid in Spain. Chinese investments in the region also include acquisitions of companies and investments in energy and natural resource projects. Some countries, such as Pakistan and Sri Lanka, have received billion-dollar loans from China to finance infrastructure projects. Chinese investments in the region have been controversial in some cases, with critics accusing China of adopting a neo-colonialist approach and risking the economic sovereignty of the countries involved. However, many countries see Chinese investments as an opportunity for economic development and poverty reduction. Many infrastructure projects are seen as essential to improving connectivity and economic integration among the countries involved and promoting international trade. But there are still many doubts about the real intentions of China's economic domination strategy, as Chinese investments in the new Silk Road could have a significant impact on international trade and the global economy. On one hand, the construction of infrastructure and transportation can facilitate trade between China and various countries, reducing time, cost, and increasing logistics efficiency. Another point is that the new Silk Road will promote economic cooperation among the countries involved, encouraging foreign investment and the creation of new businesses, leading to increased economic growth and employment worldwide. On the other hand, some countries, particularly the more developed ones, see the new Silk Road simply as a strategy to control all global markets. As China is responsible for most of the project financing, some countries may become dependent on Chinese investments, which can create a situation of economic vulnerability. It is also believed that China is simply using the new Silk Road to extend its political and economic influence worldwide, which can have long-term geopolitical implications. The most concerned about China's expansion are the United States and Europe, which are seeing various countries strengthen their economic ties with China, no longer relying exclusively on the former powers. This is the case of African countries such as Angola, Kenya, and Ethiopia, which are seeing China as a source of investment and financial assistance to aid their own internal development. In the Middle East, China has been strengthening its relations with Iran and Saudi Arabia, where its main interest lies in the region's oil and natural gas reserves, establishing commercial bases in the area and bringing diversification to countries where the market was exclusively focused on oil. Another example is with the BRICS countries, a group of emerging countries that China is currently part of along with Brazil, Russia, India, and South Africa. All this strategic development that has been carried out by China during the last decade has expanded its area of operation more and more, threatening mainly American sovereignty in the international market. Criticism of the project. Although the initiative of the new Silk Road has been well received by some countries as an opportunity to boost trade and economic growth, the project has also faced severe criticism, mainly from the nations that lose the most with China's economic expansion. Among the main arguments are debt and dependency, environmental impact, and security issues. The criticisms have logical points and serve as a warning for countries that accept Chinese investment in infrastructure because they are becoming increasingly indebted to China and, as a result, also becoming more dependent. Regarding the environmental impact, it is believed that large-scale infrastructure construction can have a significant impact on the environment, including the destruction of natural habitats and pollution. There are also concerns from environmental organizations that China is not adequately taking into account these impacts in its infrastructure projects. But the most criticized point within the construction of the new Silk Road is security issues. There are intense concerns that the infrastructure projects financed by China may have long-term security implications. A commonly used example is that China may use its infrastructure for military or espionage purposes, which can be a concern for countries that accept investment. All this context puts the New Silk Road far beyond just a Chinese strategy of economic domination but as a potentially military strategy where, due to all the influence that China is achieving with less developed countries, it may become an unfair advantage in case of conflicts. The main concern is that China does not only seek economic dominance, but also military dominance through control of various strategic points, which would make it an unbeatable military power. It is a fact that the Belt and Road Initiative is a large and complex project, where the true intentions of the country with all the investment made may be beyond the expansion of its international trade. However, the entire structure that has been created in several countries, mostly underdeveloped, has had a positive impact on the economy and the quality of life of the population. But what do you think about this situation? Do you believe that the Belt and Road Initiative is beneficial for promoting economic development in several countries? Or do you believe that China's motives are different and that all of this is just a distraction to hide its true intentions? Leave your response in the comments. I would love to know your opinion. Also, give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel to not miss any updates here at Visionary Businesses. And if you thought the Belt and Road Initiative was a massive project, know that it is just a part of China's plan to integrate what is being called the New World Economic Order. If you want to understand the entire context that is putting China as the #1 country in the new economy, I recommend that you watch the video that is now appearing on your screen. In it, you will understand a little more about what is really going on.